When something's not right in your community, your state, your nation, somebody's got to change things. Who is somebody? Hi, it's Barry Phillips, a 10-minute Torah, day 5 of Deuteronomy. We are today in chapter 3, and we want to start with verse number 8. And at that time we took the land from the hand of the two sovereigns of the Amorites that was beyond the Jordan, from the Wadi Arnon to Mount Hermon. Sidonians called Hermon Sirion, and the Amorites call it Senir. And all the cities of the plain, all Gilad and all Bashan, as far as Salcah and Edrei, cities of the reign of Og of Bashan. And then we go down to verse number 14. Yair, son of Manasseh, had taken all the district of Argob as far as the border of the Geshurites and the Maacalites, and called them after his own name, the Bashan Aharoth Yair, to this day. Now those two readings are normally just kind of glanced over, and we really don't pay any attention to them. We're looking for the good part, and we've just read over some of the good part. In particular, it is that those who conquer have the right to call the conquered places by the names that they choose. It has often been said, to the victors goes the right to write history. History is written by those who won. History is not always correct, however, we understand that. And this situation, when Israel takes over the cities of the Amorites, and as they continue and will continue to go across the Jordan and conquer the land, they have the right to organize, to divide up the territory of land that was previously held by the Canaanites, and call them after their tribal names, and then to name their particular cities as the land is divided up among the families of each tribe. They can choose to name it whatever they want. And it's an interesting read to go through particular cities' names and find out why is it called what it's called. Just start down the list of the major cities in America. Go to your hometown. Why did they name the hometown I grew up in after whatever they called it? I grew up in a town that was named after a military general whose last name was Martin, so it's Martinsville. Gloucester is, where we live now, is an old English city name, and in this area they used old English names and areas to identify certain quadrants of this county. And it's set up as an Episcopal county. It was ruled over by the Episcopalian Church. All that has influence. It continues on into the history. Sometimes the history, though, is not desirable, something that we want to continue after. And so it falls then to those who conquer the land to rename the land or to establish a new identity in the land. Yeshua said, "My Father's house is to be called a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of thieves." What was he saying? There had been a war religiously upon the house that was to be called after the name of Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh. And it had been circumvented and conquered and taken over then by a religious crowd who wanted to use it for their own schemes, devices, and plans, their own agendas. Yeshua sought to overturn that and return it back to its original purpose. Make no mistake about it. Yah is not shrugging his shoulders and saying, do with it what you want, to any area of his earth. The earth belongs to Yah, the world and all who dwell therein. It all belongs to him. And every area, from tidewater where I live to the mountains, to the deserts, to the plains, whatever situation and geographical climate that you live in, there is an righteous, and original creator design for your area. It would behoove us then, when things are unrighteous and when they are ruled in such a way as that people are especially oppressed and victimized and abused, that we cry out to the Most High and we begin to seek His face about, what is it that you want for where I live? What is this town, this city, this community, this village? Some of you may be in the middle of nowhere. What is this nowhere supposed to be, Father? What is it that you desire for it? If we will cry out to Him because we live there, because we have roots there, because we are invested there, through us, then Yah can also be invested. There were cities that Yeshua condemned. Because of their unbelief, He said, if the miracles that had been done in them, then the cities of the plain that were judged like Sodom and Gomorrah, they would have repented. And Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented. When Yeshua healed a blind man that had been led out of the city, He had to touch him twice. Once He said, I see men walking as trees. The man was blind. The reputation of the city was that everybody is righteous. They are a tree of righteousness, a Sadiq. And when He said that, Yeshua touched him a second time, and he saw all things clearly. That is, not everybody is what they say that they are. Yeshua's warning to him was, do not go back into that city. Why? It has been given over to a mindset of falseness, of deception. Don't go back in there. Some places Yeshua said, when He sent out his teachers, His disciples, He said, if a city will not receive you, and they reject what you're crying out to them, that the kingdom is coming, it's time to repent, shake the dust of that city off from your feet against them, stomp your feet and walk away. And it will be intolerable for them in the judgment. So there are cities that have rejected the will of the Most High. And you can look at these cities and see that they are in dire and desperate straits oftentimes. The homeless line their streets and live in tents and streets, tent cities. Crime is rampant. Drug abuse and use and trade runs the city. You will find scandals. You will find extortions. You will find financial mishandlings. You'll find all sorts of things. When righteousness takes hold, things can change. And we believe that we can pray for revival, for renewal, for outpouring, and Yah will hear us. So I guess my heart for you today is, you don't have to live in a place that is abandoned to its own devices. If you're there, there's a reason why you're there. And if Yah has put you there, then there is a reason for your putting. It's to cry out, oh Yah, bring your light and your righteousness and your life to this community. And you may think, oh, who am I? It would be overwhelming. I can't even begin to make a dent. You never know what a believing prayer can do. Because it's not just up to human devices. There's a war in the heavenlies over our cities. There are spirits of darkness and principalities that seek to rule over areas and regions, even nations. But when Yah's people pray and invite in His investment and involvement in our community, then the powers of righteousness from the heavens, the messengers of Yah, began to intervene. And if you can pull down the powers of darkness, entire areas, regions, places can be liberated, and you can perhaps see a change. And thinking of change, we are changing from the work week going into Shabbat. So may your Shabbat be peaceful. May it be refreshing. May it be invigorating. May it be filled with the light and the life of Yeshua, our Messiah. May you receive revelation knowledge in Him. May you find sweetness and encouragement in His presence. And until next week, Shabbat Shalom.